Hello. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. The final chapter, the epilogue. It's it I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Sorry for starting a little bit late today. I had a migraine. It was great. Sarcasm. Um, yeah, it was not fun. But, guys, the epilogue. The epilogue was released. Let me go ahead and switch to that. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that it's done. It's I can't believe it. It's absolutely insane. Like, obviously we're still going to be posting one shots. But it's so weird to think about how, like, next Saturday I'm not going to be posting a chapter for Your Embers at my fingertips. It's wild, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So basically that, like, the epilogue was obviously really short. I think on this size document it was like a page and a little bit. Like, it was from up here down to about right here. It was that long. So it wasn't very long, but it didn't need to be. Because the point of it, and maybe we'll read it a little bit later. We'll read the epilogue a little bit further into the stream. Once people have time to, like, get here. But the epilogue itself was not meant to be long. It didn't need to be. The point of it was to essentially just kind of wrap things up a little bit. Like, obviously we had the chapter before where we kind of go into the character's recovery and where they head off to after they recover. You know, obviously we have B-Dubs and Etho going back to the swamp, and we've got Joel and Lizzie moving to the Fire Nation capital. All of that, like, we wrap everything up. And I think it was the last stream or the one before where we read where we read chapter 20 and went into all of that. So that's on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen that stream. But this chapter was this epilogue was more along the lines of, I just wanted to show that Jimmy and Tango do, like, go together. You know, they do begin traveling the world together, starting with the Western Air Temple, I believe, with Grian, Mumbo, and Scar. And the connectificator starts working. They get that all fixed up, and, you know, eventually send it out to everybody, so all of the escapees, all of the survivors are able to stay in touch. And I thought it was just a nice way to round off the story, you know? It's just a nice way to show that they're all still connected. So I'm happy with it. I think it came out pretty nice. Obviously today, as you can see, we are writing the Watcher's documents, which I think will be interesting. I do have some notes set up to kind of help me remember what, you know, the purpose was. My thought is for this, and what might end up happening is it might end up becoming kind of a series, just a little bit, if people end up wanting more like specific documents for each character. Originally I was gonna write these off stream, but I've been so focused on my project, which we're gonna talk about a little bit. If people are interested in hearing about that, we can talk about what I've been working on since I finished Your Embers at My Fingertips way back in September. So I haven't had a lot of extra time to actually start one-shots for this story, this universe, because every time I have a free moment, all I want to do is write that project. So I decided to write it on stream with a little bit of notes for myself that I wrote out this morning when I saw that that was the one that won, because last night when I went to bed, it was a tie between the Watcher's documents and Pearl bloodbending to save Scott in Last Life, which is something that we talked about last stream and I wrote down on my one-shots list. So I decided, with that one having won by one vote, it was 4-3, I decided to write some notes out for myself so that I would have, so I would kind of know what the vibe was. Okay, so that'll be fun. Yeah. If anybody in the chat has any questions about the ending of Your Embers at My Fingertips, feel free to drop them, and we can go over that. And at any point in the stream, you can do that. If you have any questions about the project I've been working on since finishing Your Embers at My Fingertips months ago, I'm also definitely excited to talk about that as well. Oh my goodness, it's been crazy, guys. It's been crazy. And this morning itself has also been crazy, because at around like about an hour and a half ago, I started having an optic migraine, which is when my eyes, like my vision starts dancing and doubling and all of that. And I got to have an extra amount with vertigo this morning. So that was great. That was a lot of fun, let me tell you. Did not enjoy. But anyway, let me pull up my notes. Oh. And let me pull that up. Okay. I will pull this over here so that we can all look at this together. Because this is what'll go up. Obviously, it'll be better. I will have it all written out in a notes format, but we've got the test notes. This is what I wrote out that I want to set up. That's quite different to when your eyes froze for some minutes. Wow. Yeah. Very different situations there, Marty. Also, hi. I hope your day's going well. But yeah, I want to write out notes. The first set of notes I want to write for the Watchers is what the tests were about. So you've got the test number 1, which is Third Life, and this test was to gauge the reaction of bending and non-bending humans in a death game. So it was kind of like the first time that they like involved both bending and non-bending people in one of these tests. Also, I realized that some people were a little bit confused with the last one shot I wrote, which was this one, the creation of the eye, which is when we show like how the Watchers became what they are. This happened centuries before Jimmy's story. This wasn't a recent situation. I got a comment saying that they really wanted to see Jimmy and Tango take down Zornoth. Zornoth is dead. By the time we get to the Your Embers at My Fingertips storyline, Zornoth has been dead for quite some time. Like, because Aor was an avatar several reincarnations before Stampy, and Stampy was the avatar that created the listeners. So Zornoth is gone. And I don't know if I guess that wasn't clear enough. So I wanted to clarify that. And so back to test number 1. Grian nearly refusing to kill Scar resulted in Mumbo being taken as a punishment. Yes, he did, as he was told in the end, but if he was so close to disobeying now, who's to say he wouldn't do so again in the future? So basically with that, Grian not wanting to kill Scar, and like the two of them spending a good amount of time like going back and forth about not wanting to kill each other. Eventually, yes, Grian did kill Scar, but that kind of resistance made the Watchers wary that Grian has the capability of disobeying them. So obviously they have to squash that, right? So they took Mumbo to kind of show Grian who's in charge, essentially. The results of the mix of bending and non-bending humans were so interesting that they decided to continue this line of testing. Which leads into Last Life. Last Life was a continuation of the Third Life project, adding more features to induce new results, such as like the variation of amount of lives, you know, how it was like between 2 and 6, and then the being able to trade lives. That was an interesting difference that they added. But the Boogeyman was an unexpected twist that stemmed from Skiz's bloodlust as a red life in Third Life. That was not intentional, and while they did appreciate the amount of deaths that were coming from it, they don't like being out of control, so that wasn't that, you know, they had to take Skiz out for that. Lizzie, a listener, managed to get into the simulation from somewhere inside the compound. She was eventually found, obviously, but she managed to get into the compound, and yeah, it was a whole situation. She recruited Martin, Jimmy, and Skiz. The Watchers didn't know about the recruitment of Martin and Jimmy, but still the results were spoiled because they had clearly at least 2 listeners in there. After learning the truth, Skiz confronted Grian. Skiz, Lizzie, and Mumbo were kept in stasis and moved to another part of the compound for surveillance. The reason that Mumbo was taken out was because of how Grian... because of how Grian killed Skiz by getting Martin to kill Skiz. So it was kind of like a reward. Will varying number of lives cause discourse among the players? That was one of their questions, was with the gifting live situation, and with the number of lives being, like the disparity of the number of lives, will that cause discourse, and, you know, how will that affect the test? And then you've got double life. We're putting... Oh, that's not spelled right. We're putting benders and non-benders in a soulmate connection, allow non-benders to develop that bending ability. And then for Scott and Pearl, will Scott develop blood bending? For Etho and Joel / Martin and Cleo, will earthbenders develop lava bending? And then the results were spoiled by the waking of the Avatar. So we've got like the basic information about the tests. So now we can sort of set up. We'll set up the documents themselves. And I'm sure I'll get distracted a lot, so this will be a fun stream. At some point in the stream, I do want to talk about the project I've been working on. I'm just not sure when would be a good time to talk about it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do it at like the hour mark or something. Or if I get distracted at some point, then we'll do it then. It'll be great. You know, you guys know I get distracted a lot anyway, so it's fine. Let me just check something. Okay, cool. I don't think the font matters here. This is the thing, is like the formatting is gonna be interesting. And obviously I'll have to edit a bunch before I post it because I want to make sure everything's correct. So the things that you see here may not be the things that end up in the actual document, but that'll get posted to tomorrow probably. So let me just we'll do that actually. We'll do this. Yeah, this will be great. What number do we want for this compound? What's a good number? It needs to be a big number. The question is there a number from the Life series that makes sense? Or do we just do a random number? Needs to be in the hundreds, probably. 2, 5, 21. How do I feel about that? Compound 521. And then we do this. Or we could do, we'll do capital. Okay, there we go. Oh, Shadow is abandoning me again. She always abandons me while I'm streaming. She's like, I know you're not leaving for a long time, so I'm just gonna nope out of this situation. Okay. We need to write out the names in like alphabetical order. What is their names in alphabetical order? Okay. Maybe we go to this document and down here we can write. We'll do this. Okay, so we've got Big B. I'm not gonna try to write them out in alphabetical order now. We're just gonna write out their names. Friend. We've obviously got Jimmy and Tango. Martin. Korean. Mumbo. We're doing all 17 because in last life, we have all 17. So we want to have all 17 of them written out here. Etho, B-dubs, Skiz. We'll do Skizzle Man. Well, we'll just do Skizzle because that's his full name in this anyway. We've got Impulse. We've got, how many more do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 5 more. Who are we missing? We're missing Cleo. Missing Scar. How could I forget Scar? We got Pearl. Got 2 more. Who am I missing? Scott. And who am I missing? Joel. Okay, let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There we go. Got everybody. Awesome, awesome. Let me just... I'm just gonna go down here and do that. And we'll get rid of that at the end, because I think having them up there is gonna be really helpful for this. Okay. Now we put them in alphabetical order. Okay. We got B-dubs first. And then Big B. Wait, do we delete them? No, we'll underline them when we've got them in the list, maybe. Okay, and then Cleo. You're gonna get to hear me sing the alphabet a lot for a second. Maybe I should have done this before, but you know, here we are. We don't have any F's, but we do have a G. And then we have no H's, but we do have an I. J. Oh wait, who comes first? Jimmy or Joel? Jimmy. Jimmy is first, and then Joel. J, K, we have no K's. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Wait, do we have a K? No, we don't. That's a different thing. L, we have an M. Oh wait, which Martin's first, and then Mumbo. N O P. Okay. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S. Oh, we got the last of. Oh wait, do we have T yet? Oh, Tango's gonna be last time. Okay, and then we've got 3 S's. And we've got, okay, then we've got Scar, Scott, Skizzle, and then we got Tango. There we go. That's everybody. Let's just check. Let's just check. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So D is before I, and then Cleo, Etho, Grian, Impulse, Jimmy. I is before O. Lizzie, Martin, A is before you. and then Pearl, Ren. Yeah, A is before O, and C is before K, and T is, yeah. I think that's right. We'll find out. We'll find out. Okay. So Third Life had everybody except Mumbo and Lizzie, so we won't write Mumbo and Lizzie. Okay. Yeah. That should be right. That should be right, yeah. Okay, cool. Ah, okay. Okay, and then so we'll write, like, when you're testing, it's like you have a hypothesis and then a result and then a conclusion. That's kind of the thing, right? I'm not a science person. I have no idea. Yeah. Well, I think this will be fine. We'll go. I'm going based off of something from my my other project, because I wrote another book while I was writing, or after I finished Your Embers at My Fingertips, and it's inspired by Your Embers at My Fingertips. I'll say that much. Basically, I wrote Your Embers at My Fingertips, and I loved the storyline and the idea so much that I wrote a book. I'm writing a trilogy inspired by Your Embers at My Fingertips, but it is also very different. So I'm writing these documents as, like, inspired by stuff that I wrote for that book. So I have those up on my second monitor. And I'm like, okay, this is the vibe that I had for these notes. So this is the vibe I'm writing for these notes. It's fine. But it's also gonna be very different because it's a different story. It's great. I have two worlds in my head right now, guys. It's fun times. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes I say things, or almost say things, that involve the other world. And when Katie's in the chat, she's like yelling at me. She's like, Hawk, stop. It's fine. Bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game. Should those be capitalized? Should death game be capitalized? I know, like, bending and non-bending aren't capitalized, but I feel like death game should be capitalized. What do we feel about that? I don't know. I'll leave it capitalized, and if I don't vibe with it later, then we'll change it. What did we have? We've got, gauge the reaction of bending and non-bending humans in a death game. So what exactly are they searching for? When bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game, bending... What would their hypothesis be, though? That's the question. When bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game, probably bending will like variations will be added to will appear in bending humans / bending will occur. Well, but in this world, bending is like genetic, right? But like we know from Shelby's, especially when considering if they could learn enough, they might be able to invoke bending in non-benders. So that was like Shelby's thing, was that's what she wanted to learn how to do, was invoke bending in non-benders. So maybe they think that if non-bending people were put in life or death situations, here / bending will occur in non-bending humans before death. Okay. When bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game, variations will appear in bending humans / bending will occur in non-bending humans before death. So maybe they're kind of like thinking that if like right before they died, like as a last resort, like their bodies desperately trying to keep them alive, that kind of thing. I think that works. And then we've got results, which from here we see that the results of the mix were so interesting that they decided to continue this line of testing. So Scott developed, we know that Scott developed, because I think I've talked about this before, Scott developed ice bending in Last Life. And I don't think there are any other like actual variations in the players besides Etho, but Etho's had metal bending for a long time. Well, obviously there's blood bending, but have we talked about that? Have we talked about how Pearl got blood bending? I don't know if we've actually talked about that yet. That might be a wrap-up stream thing. I think we wrote that, like Katie and I wrote that down for the wrap-up stream. So maybe we save that for the wrap-up stream. Which, by the way, if you've read the epilogue, the date and time of that stream is in the final notes. So if you want to know, if you haven't read the epilogue yet, which you definitely should, especially because it's short, so you could go do that right now and then come back. But if you haven't read the final chapter, if you haven't read the epilogue, at the end of that chapter, it says the date and time of the wrap-up stream. It's going to be on Saturday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 7 hours behind Katie's time zone. I don't know what that's called. My brain doesn't work when it comes to time and distance and all that. It's great. So that might be a thing we talked about on the wrap-up stream, is how Pearl got developed blood bending. But I don't think beyond those three there are any actual variations. So I feel like that wouldn't have happened. But what would have happened in Third Life that made them so interested in continuing with these players? That is the question, isn't it? Maybe they got really close with somebody. Oh, wait. No, that's something else. Never mind. That's something else. That's something else. That's something else. Oh, that is something. Oh, that's not good. Okay. That's something else. Never mind. Nearly created ice with water bending. Okay, we'll do that. It's like Scott almost managed to do it, and so that's why, you know, they really focused on him in Last Life. Or maybe what if we just had, maybe we could change it to him. There's nothing said, because I haven't written anything for it yet. There's nothing saying that we can't have him ice bend in Third Life. I think that makes more sense, because then they will have succeeded, right? And then starting in Last Life, they're testing. Oh, I just got deja vu. There's nothing saying, like, because then they will have failed in test number 2, but they will have succeeded in test number 1, right? But because it was like there were outside influences messing up the second test, then obviously they would move on to a third test because it worked the first time, and then they had interference with the second time, so now they have to do it the third time to fix what happened with the interference, right? I think that maybe that makes sense. And then Korean and Scar alive. Almost refused to end test as instructed. I need to change. Yeah. Okay. To end. No. We'll do that. I like that. Okay. And then. A second test with these players will be conducted. Will be retrieved as a consequence. Okay. Obviously, they're not going to call it a punishment because manipulation. That's sorry. That sounds really harsh. Maybe it doesn't sound harsh. They are manipulative. I need to get some water. I'll just be a second. Okay. I'm back, and I have water. You'll love to see it. Okay. So we've got one test written. What time are we at? How long have we been streaming? yeah, in like 15 minutes we'll go in and like it'll be the halfway mark of the stream roughly. So we will then go and read the epilogue. I feel like that's a good way to do it, like roughly halfway through the stream. And then we can read the epilogue and talk a little bit about it. And kind of like, I feel like it would be a good thing to maybe start. We could talk a little bit about, at that point, we'll talk a little bit about what I plan to do with like this universe. And go from there. So maybe we'll get the second test written at that point. Maybe we won't. I think either way it'll be fine. Test number 2. Last life. That. Okay, this is where it's easy. I can just copy and paste because all of these guys are in here. Love that for me. Okay. So with this one, it's a little bit more complicated because it's basically the same hypothesis. It's just they added more situations. They added more like with and this is where my notes on the other thing isn't going to help me at all. They added more features, obviously, because they had the life disparity. But they also had the interference of the listeners in this one too. They had a lot of interference because they had the boogeyman and they had the listeners. And I had a different situation because we haven't written this yet, but the listeners obviously didn't know where the compound was. Listener was brought to the compound and put in the test. We have that difference. Because as I wrote more since writing these original notes, because I wrote these, but I used notes from the Your Embers at My Fingertips notes that changed in the time since I wrote them. So this is a little bit of a gray area because I haven't written it yet. It's on my list to write. I just haven't put it on a poll in a while, so nobody's known that they can vote. Nobody can vote on it if I don't put it on the poll. But clearly she was brought into the compound somehow, and my guess is that they somehow managed to manipulate the Watchers into capturing her. That's like my thought at this point. And then once she was in the test, she recruited these guys. But the Watchers weren't aware of the recruitment of Martin and Jimmy, which is why they were still in Double Life. But because of all of this, the results were spoiled. So it was a whole situation. But we need a hypothesis. Yeah, if I could spell right, that would be very nice. Okay, so it's basically like the same thing. They were still trying for the same thing. They were just trying to make it a little bit more vicious, I'm guessing. Result, flawed because they had a whole bunch of interference. Listeners, filtrated test. Glitch stemming from skizzle. Created a bloodlust named the Boogie Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like... It was a flawed result because they had so much... Oh, wait. Etho escaped. Yeah, I forgot about that. We also had a escape. Love that. Conclusion. Head watchers not contacted. Yeah. These guys, even worse than the eyes. Even worse. Don't want to mess with them. Maybe we'll do something with them at some point. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll just have to see what happens. Because now we can do one-shots for the after. That's right. We can do one-shots for the after because the story's done. So next Saturday there will be a one-shot for the after. Because I've written a couple of them now. Hi, Shadow. Shadow has come to say hello, everyone. She just pressed up against my chair while Jasper is rubbing on the bed for some reason. Hello, Shadow. She's got her nose pressed up against my chest. She's got a very long snout, and now she runs after her brother. There we go. They like to play. Jasper's my cat, by the way. So my cat and my dog like to play. They chase each other up and down the hall. And now she has plopped down. It's great, yeah. Love that. Okay. What would the conclusion be? A third test with these players we conducted. Brian commanded Martin to kill Skizzle. Okay. Yeah. What were the two? They were Lizzie and Skizzle will stasis. Will include Mumbo's transition to stasis. Oh wait, no, they already had their memories wiped. That's a thing. That's a thing. That's already happened. Okay. So now we've got Okay, now we've got 2 of these done. Is it time to read the I think it's time to read. I don't think I get doxxed by this. I'll still do it over here. I think it's time to read the epilogue. Going to read the epilogue. Okay. I wrote this so long ago. It's so long ago, it's crazy. Tango mumbles to himself, fiddling around with wires and screws within the black box that is the connectificator. He's so close to getting it to work. To be fair, he's been saying that for the past 3 weeks they've been at the air temple, and it hasn't turned on quite yet. But he's gotten it to stop exploding, so that has to count for something. The air nomads definitely seem to appreciate this development. With his face protected by a metal mask, Tango leans in to investigate the interior of the box. Crackling and muttering are the only sounds within the room Tango has taken as a workshop. The moment he connects 2 blue wires, a light flashes and a holographic image appears in front of him. Zedaf's face floats above the black box just like it's supposed to. It's working! Zed? Tango calls, desperately hoping it works. Tango! Zed exclaims, beaming through the hologram. It worked! Guys! He turns his head to the side. Get over here! 2 more faces appear on the other side. Impulse pops into view next to Zedaf, while Skiz stands behind and above them. Both of them are grinning wide. Impulse glances down at the cover panel of the connectificator on their end, examining what Zed must have done to get theirs to work. That's incredible, Impulse congratulates. Hey, homie buddy. Every time I try to do that, I just laugh. Skiz greets. How's it at the air temple? Tango chuckles, heart racing with the excitement of his invention actually working. It's great. Everyone's so nice. Well, except for Grian when he's training Jimmy, he jokes. Jimmy's picking up airbending like a pro. He's got it all figured out. Well, I wouldn't say that, Jimmy chuckles from behind him. Tango whirls around to smile at Jimmy with elation. Jimmy, look! Tango points at to their friends' grinning faces. Oh my gosh, Jimmy exclaims, dashing closer to lean over Tango's shoulder. You got it working! Hi, guys! For the first time in months, a face-to-face conversation is had between a group of surviving friends, brought together by the worst thing they could have gone through. Grian, Scar, and Mumbo join in, and a night is spent just catching up. Soon after, Tango gathers the supplies necessary to build even more connectificators to send to the rest of their friends, making it much easier to keep in touch. For the first time in so long, Jimmy and Tango are completely, purely, wonderfully happy. That's the epilogue right there. I have so many feelings about this story being done. It just feels weird that it's actually over, you know? Because this has been coming out for like 5 or 6 months now, and yes, I have my project that I'm working on, but I don't get to share it with you guys yet, right? Like, it's a book, right? I have to work on getting it published now too. I'm really proud of what I've written. I don't get to share it with you guys, and that feels so strange that you're not an active part of reading it now. Like, I'm not posting the chapters every week. So I'm still writing. And I still have a lot of things that I'm working on. I'm working on a whole trilogy. I try to write a chapter nearly every day if I'm able to. Um, funny, I'm in the middle of the second book of that trilogy. But this story has come to an end, and I'm still gonna write one shots. I'm still gonna like expand the universe, but I don't plan on writing a sequel to Tango and Jimmy's story. If they like, as their story grows, it'll be in the sense of one shots that I start on stream and then publish after, when I finished them. So it's going to be a different context. It's not going to be a sequel. It's just going to be additions. Because I want to focus more on my own world, my own characters, And that kind of feels, it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because obviously when that's done, I'm definitely gonna, shout it from the rooftops and share that book and that world with all of you. But it's like we're saying goodbye to a story that we've all, I hope we've all loved as we go on this journey with these characters. So it's sad because we're saying goodbye to one world, but we're also, welcoming another one that I genuinely can't wait to share with all of you. And as time goes on, I can't wait to share more information about my new world, my new story, which, by the way, you will definitely want to be there for the end of the wrap-up stream, because you may or may not be getting a little tiny piece of my new book. So you should definitely tune in for that. I am also planning to record that section, not just as a stream, but like actually record it so that I can post that on my YouTube as a separate video. I do want that to be its own video so that if anybody misses it, they can immediately find it. So even if you miss the end of that stream, just check my YouTube and like the day after, and it should be there. But it is just kind of, it's just a little bit, it's a little bittersweet. I can't wait to go through everything with you guys. I can't wait to talk about everything. It's kind of looking like this stream is going to be a tiny bit short today because we're at an hour and we've only got one test left to write, unless we want to go into a specific character. For the people here, if you kind of want, maybe we can go into the notes for a specific character. Or we could do like another one shot. We start another one shot. There, by the way, there wouldn't be notes for limited life because that was happening over the course of 24 hours, and that was more of like a, well, you're all gonna die anyway kind of deal. Like they didn't really write notes for that. Plus, they got captured before the test was ended anyway. Subjects. Okay. And this was everybody except Lizzie, Momo, and Skiz. There we go. Okay, and then what was the hypothesis for this one? Yeah. non-bending humans, bending will develop when bending humans are when variation bending humans are put in a soulmate connection with non-variation bending humans, variation bending will develop. Result obviously flawed. Conclusion. What would the conclusion be for this? What would this conclusion be? Oh goodness. Because obviously they did like limited life. Okay. A fourth test with as many of these players as possible be conducted to send them to their deaths. Great. So we've kind of, that's pretty much. Hi Nini, welcome to the stream. We just finished the Watcher's notes, the Watcher's documents about the tests. I'm trying to think about what we can do next because we've got like an hour left. Yeah, I had these notes written out, so it was just a situation of like writing it all out. We could read through it. Okay. Eyes named Cloaked Watchers by players assigned to compound 521 are as follows. Redacted. We can't give their names away, obviously. Test number 1, Third Life. Test subjects: B-Dubs, Big B, Cleo, Etho, Grian, Impulse, Jimmy, Joel, Martin, Pearl, Ren, Scar, Scott, Skizzle, Tango. Hypothesis: when bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game, variations will appear in bending humans / bending will occur in non-bending humans before death. Oh wait, result is actually a success. Result success. Scott retained ability to ice bend. We changed it from he ice bended in last life to he ice bended in third life to kind of like give the wait, I did that right. Yeah, the Watchers incentive to continue with these players. Grian and Scar, final 2 alive, almost refused to end test as instructed. Conclusion: a second test with these players will be conducted. Mumbo will be retrieved as a consequence. Test number 2, Last Life. Test subject: all of these people that I don't want to read out, plus Lizzie, Mumbo, and plus Lizzie and Mumbo. Hypothesis: when bending and non-bending humans are mixed in a death game with varying number of lives, they will set upon each other. Variations will appear in bending humans / bending will occur in non-bending humans before death. Result: flawed. Listeners infiltrated test. Glitch stemming from Skizzle created a bloodlust named the Boogeyman. Etho escaped. Green commanded Martin to kill Skizzle. Head Watchers not contacted. Conclusion: A third test with these players will be conducted. Lizzie and Skizzle will be moved to stasis. Reward for Grian will include Mumbo's transition to stasis. Test number 3, double life. Test subjects, all of these people. Hypothesis: when bending humans are put in a soulmate connection with non-bending humans, bending will develop. When variation bending humans are put in a soulmate connection with non-variation bending humans, variation bending will develop. Result: flawed. Avatar was awoken. Conclusion: a fourth test with as many of these players as possible will be conducted to send them to their deaths. There we go. Yeah, it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. But we talked a little bit about the ending of Your Embers at My Fingertips and my project that I've been working on. I did want to get some people's advice on something. So I finished the first book of my new project. And I'm halfway through the second one, roughly, like almost halfway through. If I finish this trilogy and don't have an agent by the time that happens, would people be more like, would people want to wait until it's professionally published, or would you rather I self-publish and work on marketing on my own? Because as soon as I finish this trilogy, I'm moving on to another trilogy. I'm moving on to rewriting Connected and finishing that trilogy. I don't exactly want to be working on a second trilogy without even the first book of the first trilogy being done. You know what I mean? It's complicated. Like, it's hard to get an agent, but I'm also writing really quickly. So I'm not entirely sure what to do at this point. Obviously, in between now and when the book is published, like, Katie and I will have had to do the book cover, which isn't happening in, like, we're not even planning it out until this summer. So, like, obviously the first book wouldn't be coming out at least until then. I am planning on continuing sending out like query letters to agents in between that time. So maybe it won't matter and I'll get an agent at some point in the next like 6 months or however long. And it'll all work out, but would you rather wait longer? Like, it's, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what to do about it at this point. You don't know, but you probably buy it anyway. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think you were here when I was talking about my project earlier, but essentially the project is inspired by Your Embers at My Fingertips, but it's also very different. The first book is kind of similar in like the timeline of it, like, you know, it's more similar, but then in the second book it's like a completely different world. And the second book is when I do a lot of the lore stuff, so I'm excited for that to come out. But I had a lot of fun with the idea of basically with the idea of what Your Embers at My Fingertips was, so I wanted to write my own storyline for it. Because obviously, like, the second half, like, obviously Your Embers at My Fingertips is my storyline, but it's very heavily like Double Life and Avatar The Last Airbender. So I wanted to do my own take on it with my own world and lore and everything. So I did that, and then I loved it so much that I decided to do a trilogy for it. So I'm like halfway through the second book on that. What should we do for the next 45 minutes, guys? What should we do? We could write something else, but the question is, what would we write? This is getting better and better. I'm also questioning, like, trying to find an editor now so that it's, you know, somebody can edit it faster. But I'm still trying to figure out the best way to go about that. I had a thought of putting it on my Instagram and seeing if people there would be interested in helping me with it. But, you know, I don't know if I'm actually going to do that or not. So theoretically, if you were able to edit, you know, anybody here, if you're able to edit and would like to help, you know, message me on Instagram and maybe I'll get back to you. You get a little bit of a... might get to read it a little bit sooner. I'm still so new to this world of like professional book writing, so. But we'll see what happens. I need to get back to, you know, contacting agents and trying to get an agent. Everyone has to start somewhere. Yeah. I just so desperately want people to be able to read my story, because I'm really proud of it. I think it came out pretty well, and I'm gonna be giving you guys a little sneak peek into it at the end of the wrap-up stream, so that'll be its own video on my YouTube channel. I'm going to record that separately, or not separately. I'm going to record that while Katie and I are streaming it, and then upload it as its own video probably the day after. So anyone who misses the stream will be able to see it there. I'm at a loss for what to do for the next, like, 40 minutes. Because I could start writing something else, but I don't know if I want to start writing a whole one-shot in 40 minutes, because then that just gives me more work to do later today. Guys, have anything to talk about? Do you have any questions about Your Embers at My Fingertips? We could do a little Q&A. I will happily answer questions. I open the floor. If it's something that I'm saving for the wrap-up stream, I'll let you know. But if you have any questions about the ending, about anything that's happened throughout the entirety of the story, or like the one-shots or anything like that, I will happily answer questions if I feel like it's a good time. If it's something that I'm specifically saving to talk about on the wrap-up stream, then I won't. But if it's something that I can answer now, then, you know, we can open it up to a little bit of a Q&A. And then Monday we'll get back into writing some more one-shots. And we can do one-shots for the after. Now I'm calling it the after because we got the before and the after. So on Monday, we might start doing one-shots for the after, which will be fun. And then next Saturday, a one-shot that I've written for the after like months ago. Will Scott and Pearl be friends again? In my vision, that's complicated because Pearl sort of believes that she doesn't deserve to be friends with Scott. So maybe eventually they start talking. Probably after like Martin, Jimmy, and Tango are like, just answer his letters. Because Scott is sending Pearl letters, right? Like they were really close in Last Life. And yeah, they had problems in Double Life, but they were really close in Last Life. And so Scott and Pearl both still remember those memories. So does Cleo. Like, Cleo feels bad for how they treated Pearl. So, they're sending Pearl letters and like trying to get in touch with her. And Pearl is like really struggling to feel like she deserves to be their friend again. But I feel like eventually they probably start talking. I don't know how far in the future it would be. I feel like Pearl would need some time to process everything and, need to talk about it in therapy a bit. But at some point, I think they would be friends again, yeah. It would probably be awkward at first, but yeah. Yeah, you gotta give your characters angst. Gotta make your characters angsty. That is something that I could write at some point. Is maybe them deciding to talk again, or Pearl deciding to answer a letter. I think that could be a fun one shot. I might write that down for myself. Let me find that, because now I need prompts for the after, so I'm gonna write that down. Yes, okay. I have written it down. It is in my notes. Maybe that'll go on Monday's poll. I need to organize my notes for Your Embers at my fingertips, but I'm going to still be writing one-shots for a while. I do think, I talked about this earlier, I do think people got a little bit confused with this one-shot, because I got a comment where somebody was saying that they would love to see Jimmy take down Zornoth. I don't know. I felt like I made this clear, but apparently I didn't. Zornoth, like this one shot right here happened centuries ago. Like, this was the beginning of the Watchers, and Aor was the previous Avatar, and Stampy started the Listeners 3 avatars before Jimmy. Zornoth is dead. Zornoth is long gone. This happened a long time ago. So like Shelby, Sunflower, Shelby, Sunflower, and Sausage are gone. Like, all of the people in this one shot by Jimmy's storyline are not around anymore. You're also wondering how the tests were for Scar being able to walk in there. Yeah. Traumatic. let me just tell you, waking up after like being able to walk, there's a part of him there is a part of him that misses the tests. Because he was physically healthy. He wasn't disabled in the test. And obviously there's absolutely nothing wrong with being disabled. You don't need to be cured, you don't need to be fixed. As someone with a disability, I can say, like, I would love not to be disabled, but at the same time it's like, I know I don't need to be cured to be a person. But at the same time, if I was put in a test where I wasn't in pain all the time and I was able to run and lift things and walk for, longer than 5 minutes without being exhausted and in pain, I would miss it by waking up and realizing I'm never going to have that again. He's grieving that a little bit after everything. There's a part of him that years later is still going to miss the test a little bit. And so that, yeah. I've written something similar I've written a one-shot similar to my own, for a character in my book. I did have a thought for something down the line when my community is bigger. Starting a Patreon where at one of the levels, I'm not sure which one it would be, you get to see one-shots for my book. Like, probably after the first book's published and you know who the characters are. But I had a thought for that, to do that at some point, so maybe that'll happen, and then you guys can see the one-shots that I write for them. But I probably won't be posting those on AO3. At least not now. Yeah, it's a thought that I have in my head to do it at some point. But yeah, like, all of the characters have some kind of difficulty with leaving the test, whether it's like missing it or being extremely traumatized by it, or something along those lines. One thing that I don't think I've ever talked about was what happens to the characters after they die in the test, like after they lose their final life. I don't know if I've ever actually talked about that, and I feel like that's something that would be interesting to discuss at some point. You want to know? Okay, we can talk about it. So, essentially, what happens to the characters after they die, and they're like, and the test is still going on, right? They are in a cold, empty, blank void. It's just completely dark. Nothing's there. Nobody else is there. They're completely alone. And they're just there for who knows how long. Like, obviously Jimmy is in there the longest because he dies first every time. So like the past 2 tests, he's just hovering, just floating in this blank and empty and freezing cold void until the test is over and he finally gets to be put in stasis again. And then it starts all over again. So that's also a bit of a traumatizing situation. Because, the Watchers, right? Can't make it easy for him. I hate the Watchers. Like, I created them, and I hate them. I would like to fight the Watchers. It's great. On the topic of one-shots to do, Katie had the idea, and I might have talked about this last time, of doing a what if kind of series with yes, it is Alone with Your Thoughts for who knows how long, not even a wall. Yeah. Like, I can't, that would be so bad for me. Like, imagine how bad silence is going to be after that. You're going to hate silence for the rest of your life. But yeah, Katie had the idea of a what if series to do for the one-shots. And, basically what that would entail is like non-canon one-shots for stuff that like exists outside of the story. For example, the one that she came up with was like, what would happen if the non-benders kept like the bending that they had in limited life? So like B-dubs could earthbend or Scar could airbend. Like how would that affect them? And the thought that came up was that it would feel unnatural. It would be extremely unnatural to have that bending because your spirit is not supposed to be a bender. So it would just be like, it would just feel, it would kind of feel like how Tango felt with the bending, where it's like part of him felt like it was supposed to be there, but part of him felt like it was bad. Like he wasn't supposed to be doing this. All he wanted was just to firebend. It's kind of that vibe. And I have that written down on my list, and that might go on Monday's poll as well, because now we can do stuff like that. So that I think that could be an interesting situation to find themselves in. But yeah, any one-shot ideas for the After or the What If series, I will gladly put on my list, and I'll put that in the notes for I guess this one-shot that comes out tomorrow. There's so much that we can do with the story now that it's all published. Yeah, it's so bittersweet that it's over. Because it's like we're saying goodbye to a story. Like, yeah, we're writing one-shots for it, but, you know, Jimmy's story is over, essentially, because I don't plan on writing a sequel because I'm working on my own project. I'm writing my own story now with my own characters who I love so much. Yeah, it's just there's a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't really get to talk about with you guys yet. I would love to talk about the story. I would love to let you guys in on all that it means. Well, you have a thought about What If, and one that you kind of stuck with mostly is, what if the soulbound connection still exists outside of the test, maybe only weaker or something? Oh, like they can still kind of feel they can still kind of feel like the pain that their soulmate feels, like that kind of thing. Yeah, that would actually be interesting. Yeah, let me. Okay, what if the soulmate connection existed outside of real life? Yeah, I like that. That would definitely be interesting. I have that written down. Thank you, Nini. Oh my gosh. Also, if anybody like wants to write anything for Your Embers at My Fingertips, like, you're perfectly welcome to. If you don't want to or don't want to share it, like, that's totally fair. But you guys have a lot of good ideas for like one-shots and all of that. So if you do have the inclination to write anything, you are perfectly welcome to. And if you want to post them, that is also perfectly welcome. I just ask that you put that it was inspired by Your Embers at My Fingertips, so that people can find the story that it's inspired by, you know? But obviously, if you just have the ideas and want to leave the writing to me, that's also fine. That is also very okay. And if I get the notification, like if you let me know that you've written one, I will try my best to read it and leave a comment. But obviously, if I don't have the time, then don't be offended. I will do my absolute best to get around to read it. I love your ideas. You guys have good ideas. It's great how long this is getting. This list is getting really long. Oh, do you guys want to help me pick the one shots for the polls? We could do that. I think that would be fun. we can pick the 4. Oh wait, this one's done. This one's done. I can take this off. Oh right. Tests. Wait, no, that's test documents. Okay. Don't know if you ever have the confidence to put something you wrote somewhere online, but you'll definitely if you tell everyone where it comes from and to read yours. Yeah, I totally understand. Like putting your work out on the internet is terrifying because you're being seen. Like people are seeing your work, and whether you like it or not, they're judging your work. It can be really scary, especially the first time you do it, but you know, it gets easier. But obviously, if that's not something you want to do, then never feel pressured to do it. You don't have to share your writing with anybody. I've been doing it for a long time. Showing some friends is one thing, but strangers, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I've been posting fan fiction online since I was like 13, so it's not as it gets easier. Let me tell you. Okay, why don't we choose some one shots to go on the poll for tomorrow, because I put the poll up tomorrow, and then it stays up until like a couple hours before the stream on Monday. So we've got Lizzie being sent to the Watcher's base, Pearl meeting IRL Tilly, Scott's reaction to losing Jimmy in Third Life, and then we've got the abductions, and Green seeing Mumbo in Last Life, Impulse and Gem reunion, with Gem being revealed as like now she's the older sibling, which is something that Katie and I will get into on the wrap-up stream, but would be interesting now. We've got the beginning of the What If series with non-canon beat-ups Earthbender. We've got Hawk playing a fun British game. We've got the creation of the listeners. Mumbo quad kill in Limited Life. Pearl using bloodbending in Last Life to save Scott. Pearl deciding to answer Scott's letters. And what if the soulmate connection existed outside of Double Life? The last poll must have many votes. Every time you look, the votes that change. Yeah, I think it was over 10, which is, I think, the most votes we've had on a poll. And so that was fun. Last night, when I looked at it before going to bed, it was tied between Pearl bloodbending to save Scott and the Watcher's documents. And this morning, by one vote, the Watcher's documents won. So I feel like we have to keep this one. Oh, that's not right. We have to keep that one on there because there were so many votes for it. There were 3 votes for it. But do we have any requests for the other 3? So I can put 4 on a poll. Cleo. Yeah, I've been trying to keep that one on there for you. I feel like at some point I do want to write that. I do want to write Cleo getting abducted. But I feel like, yeah, someday it'll happen. But yeah, we have Cleo. I really want to write this one. So maybe we put that one back on there. But I think maybe we do a one of the what if. So we could do this one. Because we've either got, hold on, we'll do... Let's take this off. Yeah. So we've got Cleo being abducted. We've got Impulse and Gem reunion. We've got Pearl using blood bending in Last Life to save Scott. And what if the soulmate connection existed outside of Double Life? Okay, so we've got one from the past. We've got one sort of from the present. We've got we got another one from the past, and we have one of the what ifs. I think that's a good mix. I think that's good. Yeah. I kind of want to come up with a one shot that's different for Cleo, because like I have all of these prompts for like other characters. I have a lot for Pearl, but I don't really have any for Cleo. I feel like we need to come up with some more one shots for Cleo at some point. There's so many good things to write in this world. Cleo gets betrayed in Last Life. Oh yeah, that's a good one actually, yeah. I think I have watched that scene from Cleo's perspective, but it would be, you know, different in this world, with Bigby being an airbender and Cleo being a firebender. But I say we keep the abduction on there for now. Because I really want to, like, I do really want to write another abduction. I've only actually written Jimmy and Joel's abduction. I haven't actually written anybody else's. Some of them aren't on here though, because, you know, I mean, I need to put Tango on here. Actually, yeah, I do need to put Tango on here because I haven't written Tango's abduction. But yeah, I want to write more abductions. I wish I had more time, right? Like, I wish this was... Part of me... It would be a lot easier if this was my main project, right? And I didn't have my head in another world, too. Because if this was all that I was writing, then it would be so much easier to, like, write these one-shots and just write all of the ones that I want to. But all I want to do is write one-shots for, like, write, you know, the second book of my world and one-shots for that. It's tricky, because I love this world, I love this story too. But, you know, one is current and one is in the past, right? Because I finished Your Embers at my fingertips in September. And I started writing Your Embers shortly after that. So ever since then, Your Embers has been my main project. So it's a little tricky. If I started a Patreon, would anybody subscribe to it? Just out of curiosity. Because I know not many people would at this point because my community is so small, but like, would anyone subscribe to it at this point if I started a Patreon? And it's totally fine if you say no. I won't be offended. I just out of curiosity. Because if I did it that way, then that would give me like more of an opportunity to introduce you to that world. And so you might like you would get a little bit. You would get a little bit of information about those characters and like a little sneak peek and stuff before it comes out, and then after it comes out as well. But I wouldn't want to just post those on like AO3, you know? But obviously, I really genuinely won't be offended or upset if you wouldn't. I'm just wondering. But he's like, all of these one-shots will still be posted on AO3 publicly. It would just be more about like my more professional, my bigger projects, you know, my trilogies. You'd get more information about those. Because I'm hoping by the end of the year, the entire Your Embers, you know, trilogy would be out. And so like you'd be getting more information sooner. You never have actually looked on Patreon, but you roughly know what it is and how it works. And you really love my writing and extra infos. Yeah, I'm also new to Patreon. I've used it once with one creator and I've never done it again. But essentially it would be a way for me to make a little bit of money. It wouldn't be expensive. It'd be like $1, $3, $5 for the tiers, because there's 3 tiers. And so there would be like, you know, some things would be more accessible and like you get like the basic stuff on the first tier and then more, you know, stuff that I wouldn't necessarily share everywhere on the third tier. So it'd be a way for me to earn a little bit extra money and also like share some of my more professional projects with you guys before they come out. So like maybe the prologue would get posted there and some of the one shots and, you know, all of that. And it would give me a chance to like share the world with you guys maybe before it comes out. And then while the trilogy is coming out, you just get like a little bit more of that world. Yeah, that sounds nice. Okay, I might look into it then and see if I can set one up. And then I'll post it probably on Instagram. I don't expect a lot of people to subscribe to it because my community is very small. But for anybody that wants more information and like extra stuff. But these one shots, like the Your Embers at My Fingertips one shots, like the fan fiction, will still be posted on AO3. So if you don't want anything more than the fan fictions, then you don't have to subscribe to it. I feel like that's fair. But the stuff that I can't post on AO3, that would go there. Maybe some extra streams would happen there too. Maybe some like writing one shots for my other project for the book. Those one shots would get streamed on Patreon for all tiers. Whereas the fanfiction one-shots are the only ones that get streamed on Twitch. Because I know that you can do, like, private streams on Patreon that, like, you know, not on Twitch. And so only the people that are subscribed to your Patreon can see those streams. And so, you know, maybe that kind of vibe. So I'll look into that and see if I can set that up. Might try to do that this weekend. Maybe it won't happen because I'm also moving. I'm moving house over the next couple months. So I'm moving boxes tomorrow, so I probably won't have the energy or physical capability to sit at my desk after that. But I'll look into setting that up and then post about that on Instagram. I think unless there's any questions that anybody has, everyone is moving lately. Yeah, maybe it's just that time of year. Maybe just people are feeling the move. Unless you guys have any questions about my project or one shots or Your Embers at my fingertips, I might wrap it up. We've got like 10 minutes left, so if you have any more questions about anything or things that you want to hear me talk about, send them now or forever hold your peace until Monday. I wish this had taken a little bit longer, but it's a lot shorter than I actually thought it was going to be. So I need to edit this, so I'll check over it because things might change. Things might not be the way I want them to be. So I'll like edit this later today, and then all the questions you wrote out so far were answered in one shot, so that's fair. Well, I'm glad we got your questions answered in the one shots, because that's what they're there for. They're there to wrap up and answer questions. At some point, I do plan on writing the creation of the listeners because some people have been talking and theorizing about that. So that is on my list to do, but it's not going to go on the poll for Monday, so it'll probably be like another week or two before I write that. So, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the stream. Thank you to everyone who came out and watched the stream, whether you lurked or chatted in the chat. I will see you guys on Monday. Make sure to watch my Instagram tomorrow so that you can vote on which of the 4 one-shots that we chose today to be written on that stream. And if you also watch out for that if I set up a Patreon. So if you want to join that would be very much appreciated, but no pressure. And yeah, thank you guys for coming, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.